What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast. It is another week. It is another mock draft, except this time we brought in a fourth. We got your boy Seifs here with us finally, and he's going to have pick number one for us. Colin, how you feeling about this? You ready for 2 rounds of mock draft madness, my friend?
I feel like a guy in rookie ball right here because you guys have been doing this for several weeks now. At this point, this is the first time I'm joining in, so take it easy on me. That's what I'll say.
Oh, I am going to roast every pick he makes. I can't wait.
Come on.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Without further ado, I feel like we just jump into this. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah? Colin, Tennessee Titans on the clock. Pick number 1. Where are they going?
I think it's all but inked in right now. I listened to Daniel Jeremiah on the Pat McAfee show, and he said all Cam Ward has to do at his pro day is just show up, like a proof of life. It's a proof of life test. As long as he's there, it's the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So I'm going Cam Ward number 1 here. I just think it's too obvious.
Yeah, you got to do it. I think he's pretty clearly quarterback 1. I think the gap between him and quarterback 2 is bigger than the gap between like quarterback 2 and quarterback 5. It's Cam Ward and then everybody else, in my opinion. And Tennessee is trying to build the offensive line. They've done a pretty good job, although paying Dan Moore is questionable. I still am not sure that he's actually but that's besides the point. I like the pick of Cam Ward. I do.
Right on. Moving on to number 2. That'll be me. Cleveland Browns. Now, this is an interesting spot. Do they go quarterback here and just try to fix a problem, or do they take best player available? It's a tough one for me. I think the right decision would be to take Abdul Carter, but the right decision does not always get made in the NFL. I'm going to go Shedeur Sanders to the Cleveland Browns, number 2 pick. Kevin Stefanski is going to be able to get the most out of a guy that maybe doesn't have the upside athleticism that people want in their quarterbacks nowadays, but Shedeur, accurate with his short yardage throws, might not have the best arm in the league, but Stefanski can definitely work with a guy that can pre-read a defense, know where the ball is going to go, and get it there. So I'm going to go Shedeur Sanders. They fall in love with the traits. Stefanski goes, I've made it work with guys with similar abilities. And Shedeur to the moon, you're going to fix our problem. So Sanders to the Browns.
Baby.
Yeah,
baby.
Might not be what I think they should do, but what they do for this one.
Yep, and I think we kind of do these based on what we think the teams are going to do. Like the the Titans and the Browns both are probably staring down the barrel of needing a quarterback. Obviously, the Titans believe in Deshaun Watson. I got beachfront property in Central Illinois to sell you as well because it's just not going to work. I'm sorry. It just isn't going to work anymore. So that brings up an interesting pick. Bobby, the New York Giants on the clock. They did bring in Jameis Winston. Does that move the...
Yeah, I think this is probably worst case for the Giants. I see how some fans could look at it as best case, but at the end of the day, it reminds me of exactly where the Colts were a few years ago. I think this is a team that has to take a swing on a quarterback. I understand that they could do that in the 2nd and 3rd round, but to be honest, I at the end of the day, I think they got to go get their guy, and I think that guy's Jackson Dart. Give me Jackson Dart, 3 overall to the Giants. There's such a premium on the quarterback position. I do think that Dayball coming from working with Jalen is a really good. Jackson Dart has a lot of the athletic traits that you would want. He has a better arm than Shedeur. The processing isn't there. The accuracy might not be as good. But Dayball's shown that he can do that before. And at the end of the day, I think Joe Shane and Dayball would be in the wrong to have the rest of their career really weigh on Jameis Winston's shoulders. So for that reason, and I don't think Jackson Dart, you could say trade back. I think he could go anywhere in the top 10. So I think at the end of the day, if this is really how the board falls, they got to make a move to go get a quarterback to try to save their job. So,
yeah, I think the Giants, their chips were in the Matthew Stafford trade pot, and that did not happen. So if this is the way the draft plays out, they're definitely scrambling. And I don't think that this would be the reach maybe some people might think, because you're not wrong. He won't last forever. And if you miss out on another guy, you can't, like you said, if you're going down swinging, is it really Jameis Winston you want, or can you potentially sneak out a couple more years drafting that rookie quarterback?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think going forward, you give yourself a couple more years by getting a young guy in there and saying, well, wait, let's give us a chance here. Totally agree with that. Colin, how would you feel about your rival Giants bringing in Jackson Dart?
Well, I do think he does have a lot of talent, both mobility-wise and arm strength, but that would be the shock of the draft for sure. Like, immediately shock of the draft. Just I'm not saying he's not a first round quarterback just because how quarterbacks do in the NFL draft like in the last 20 years. But at 3, that'd be crazy. That would be crazy.
Agreed. New England on the clock here at pick number 4. This is tough. I think the 2 best players in the draft are on the board for me. And do you want Travis Hunter? Do you want Abdul Carter? I'm going to say the Patriots build Abdul Carter.
Great pick.
Yeah, great pick. Abdul Carter.
Give me the edge rusher. Give me the high upside edge rusher.
Yep. Hey, I like that pick. Like Nate was saying, it's the Mike Vrabel way. You don't think he's going to come in and if Abdul Carter, potentially the best player just in the draft, falls to him at 4, I think he's licking his chops, and that will probably be the pick there. You can get a potentially elite edge rusher, and that's a position every team that's going to compete needs.
100%.
It's a spot too where like if you're the Patriots going into draft night, you're just hoping one of these guys are there at 4, and then you get there in this scenario and both of them are there. It's like, oh my gosh.
Agreed. Colin, back on the clock here with Jacksonville.
Well, this makes it really interesting here because I was going to go a completely different way, but the Giants here at pick 3 really have opened up the draft. I think it's a sprint to the podium. Travis Hunter, I'm sorry, you have to play in Jacksonville, but you're going to Jacksonville. Phil's kind of both needs. I mean, their defensive backfield is not great, and then they also need another receiver. So, I mean, he is a 2-for-1 right there. Bang, bang. You decide what you want to do with him.
Yeah, I think that'd be a home run pick for them, man. Can do anything for you. He's so good. Him being available at 5 is crazy. I mean, it's criminal.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, I think it's got a shot of that happening. Moving on to the Raiders here, though, at 6. I think this is starting to become more and more inked in the closer we get to the draft. Unless they're able to make a trade for a running back. I did see they were trying to get Kenneth Walker. They're just trying to rebuild the Seahawks over in Las Vegas. But if that's not able to happen, they're not able to get somebody else and they're still lacking come draft time, I think Ashton Jeanty is the pick for the Raiders. It makes too much sense getting Geno. They're really trying to compete right now. Ashton Jeanty helps your offense get better immediately with the threat of an explosive run game off of one guy's back. So you're going to take Ashton Jeanty here as the Raiders, and we'll see if this is the best thing going forward for them. Tom Brady, this is really your first big moves as partial owner, the guy taking the shots, and you've gone with old man Geno at QB. So you got to draft somebody young to compete because you don't got time. So Ashton Jeanty to the Las Vegas Raiders for an immediate impact.
Yeah. I love that pick.
Yeah, I think that'll be a real common one we see that just makes a ton of sense. So Jets on the clock, I think this could be a really interesting pick for him. A guy that I think I've seen fall a little bit, but I still think he's a stud. I think that at the end of the day, if you're going to have Justin Fields in this offense, you really need to do everything you can to help him win. Give me Tetairoa McMillan. I think he's too solid of a prospect. I've seen a lot of draft boards where he's fallen out of the top 10, out of the top 15. Could see that. I think wide receiver is just a premium position. I think regardless of the 40 time, this guy can ball. He's an athletic freak. Pairing him with Garrett Wilson. Get Fields a big body guy that can go down and make plays for you. So,
yeah, I think that's a real good pick. Him and Garrett Wilson together would be really solid. In fear of my mic not working, I'm going Mason Graham at pick 8 to the Panthers. Just best player available, man. Too good.
Yeah, I mean, and they need defensive line help pretty much everywhere. You can get a young, immediate starter in Mason Graham. I love that pick, man. I wish he fell 2 more, but yeah. I love that pick.
Oh.
Saints here at number 9. Kind of interesting. A couple different places they can go. Obviously, new head coach. And I'm probably going to get roasted for this, but I don't care. I'm doing it anyways. Give me Tyler Warren to the Saints.
Okay.
I know there's not the biggest need on their board a tight end, but you're telling me you can go out and get a guy who's rated this high as a playmaker seen on film. Come on, Kellen Moore. Let's see what we can do. So I'll take him here at 9.
Like that. I'm interested to see what we've got. Saints fans that love to comment. I'm interested to hear what they have to say.
Oh, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think the fact that you re-sign Johnson deters you from drafting Tyler Warren at all. He is a better tight end, I could argue, almost immediately if he is what everybody proclaims he is to be. And the fact that you can move him around, Kellen Moore, that's a chess piece, and I know he wants guys like that on his offense. Now we're to my team, baby. Funny how that works. Chicago Bears at 10, and if you didn't take Warren, I think I might have here, like straight up, because I think that's a possibility. Jeanty off the board would hurt for Bears fans. I think offensive line is in play, even with the additions through free agency for the Chicago Bears. I think it's so much in play that I think I'm going to take him. I will say this. I think corner, it might not be getting talked about for the Chicago Bears. I don't know if corner 2 is even solidified. Tyreek Stevenson, he's not the player that a lot of Bears fans want to see at that spot come next year. If a guy like Jahdae Barron is right here, or even Will Johnson, I think both are in the discussion. But I'm going to go Armand Membou, tackle 1 to the Chicago Bears. Is it an immediate start play for him? Maybe not. And it's tough to draft a backup. But if this guy is the level of player that he's shown to be, that he's tackle 1, there's a chance this guy's day 1 left tackle. Braxton Jones, you've been moved to swing tackle, and we're rocking with this young guy to protect Caleb Williams' blindside, and I'll be completely fine with that. If that's the route the Chicago Bears go, I think Membou is a step above the rest of the tackles. He's clear cut, and he's going to be a tackle and can play left or right side, but a left side for the Bears. So I'm going to go Membou here, but real consideration for Jahdae Barron, even though it might not be the biggest need for the Bears.
Yeah, that you just built one of the nastiest offensive lines in football. That's all I have to say about that.
Love that.
Man.
Yeah, I think 49ers fans are probably going to be a bit salty at that pick. I think, though, that there is a guy still that does fit a similar role. I think this is a guy that can be a guard, then move to tackle. He can play tackle if you need him to. I know the arm length stuff is important, but at the end of the day, this guy's a really, really, really good offensive lineman. Give me Will Campbell here. I think you got to really protect Purdy as much as you can, and I think he's a mean cuss to have on that O-line. Brings the right mentality that those guys need. So, and I think Shanahan would love to be able to utilize him in the run game. So
you said it, versatility everywhere. This guy can move across the offensive line and be at a level of starter immediately. That's very important for these 49ers.
Yeah, Campbell, day 1 starter, man. And they've just been picked apart. So I love the Will Campbell pick there. That's like worst case scenario for the Dolphins is those two guys go 10 and 11. I will be devastated. Cowboys on the clock here at pick number 12. No Jeanty for me to take, unfortunately.
Hampton's there.
Is there. Tempting. Actually, genuinely tempting because he's going to be a stud. But I'm going to go with the guy that I think is also going to be a stud. I'm going with Luther Burden out of Mizzou. I think he's going to. I think it's probably between him and Matthew Golden here for me. And I'm just going to go with the guy I know is more polished. I just think Luther Burden in a good situation as a complementary receiver to CD Lamb. Good. And you'll take pressure off Lamb. I love it. I think Dallas would be very smart to take him here.
Right on.
Just threw a wrench in my plans over here.
Ah, yes.
I'm just kidding. There's nothing Miami loves more than a speedster, though, so that kind of does hurt a little bit.
Not kidding.
Looking at it here, I've kind of gone through a few different guys here for this spot for Miami to take, and I'm kind of torn on it. I really, really am. So I'm going to take the obvious cop-out answer, and I'm going to take Malachi Starks to the Dolphins here.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it at all.
I just think he's going to be a premier defensive back out of this class, and Miami's safeties last year were very, very poor, although on paper they looked very, very good.
I know.
So take a young guy here, a guy you can gel into that system, and hopefully is a huge playmaker moving forward.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think he's going to be damn good. And someone was shocked that he went high in our last mock, and I'm not going to be shocked when he goes high in the real draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's very good. Nate, what would you think about Jahdae Barron there for the Dolphins?
Jahdae Barron or Will Johnson, sign me up. I'd take either of them there.
Because I think the entire secondary, no matter what position you address, would be a positive for the Dolphins.
Yep. I think Harry or an offensive lineman. I think either of those picks. And honestly, if it's not Campbell or interested in Kelvin Banks at that spot.
Yeah. I've seen him fall pretty far.
I'd be interested in trading down at that and then taking him. But I think here the pick should be Malachi Starks, Will Johnson, or Jahdae Barron, personally, at 13, the way the board's fallen.
Love that. On to the Colts here. Now, I think if the board felt like this, I don't know if they'd be pissed going and signing good players, but there are a couple of corners here where you can go, man, we spent some money on a position that we have now the ability to draft.
Yeah.
And I think Jahdae Barron is a very interesting pick, but I think the corner additions maybe deter that just a little. I'm gonna go edge here. I'm gonna go Latu. Still very high on him for the future, but maybe the production wasn't exactly what they wanted. And you don't want to draft the edge multiple years in a row, but if you can get two elite guys, give me James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee to the Indianapolis Colts. I know linebacker Jihaad Campbell and guard Tyler Booker. This is a spot where Colts have 6-7 pathways to go through their free agency. I think James Pierce Jr., just add him on the other side of the edge. The Colts defensive line this past season, it got worse from the year prior based on sacks production alone. They want to get back to that level with Lou Amaruno at DC. So I'm going to go James Pierce just so they can have another body, another guy that can get after the quarterback on that defensive line.
Love that pick. Man, back-to-back years, they take my favorite edge.
Yeah, and honestly, edge is a position of need. You got a 30-year-old coming off of a torn Achilles, Latu, Taekwon Lewis. I mean, Kwity Paye. No one really screams it, and taking their pick of the litter at edge would be awesome here. I think, like you mentioned, Jihaad Campbell or even Loveland here we could see go.
Yep.
But Falcons on the clock. To be honest, I think they could also go a very similar route here with edge, but a guy that I'm just really, really high on that I think could be a leader of a defense, especially for Raheem Morris. Give me Jihaad Campbell.
Yep.
I think, that'll solidify a big need for them. I think he is an insane playmaker, especially at that position. He flies around, makes tackles. So I think Raheem Morris is going to say, give me a leader of the defense. We just kind of move on from there, guy you don't have to worry about for the next 8 to 10 years. So
yeah, I think Jihaad Campbell will slot in real nicely, somewhere between 14 and 20. I think 20 will be his lowest. I could be wrong, obviously, but that's just what I think he has shown he's going to be an immediate leader, like you said, Bob, at a big position on most defenses.
Be surprised if he got past 17 with how the Bengals defense looks now on paper.
Exactly.
I'd be shocked if he got past them. And honestly, Falcons really, too, could you really use him? He's got a wide range. The dude is super talented.
I can see the Colts taking him at 14 easily as well.
I totally agree. I could see the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Arizona on the clock. I made this pick last time. I'm going to make Will Johnson here. I just think he's too good to be available here, honestly. Just so good. Excellent press cover, corner, great in zone, not bad in man. Don't know why people are so worried about him. Give me Will Johnson.
Yeah, I like the Will Johnson. Like you said, position of need. I will say Jahdae Barron there. You like Johnson over Barron? Because I can't lie, even as the Michigan man I am, the more that I've watched these tapes of these DBs, I think Barron might be just a little bit better in my mind only, but I don't think Will Johnson's far behind. And Nate, like you said, he's a plus side corner. Anyone that gets him is going to be like, damn, this guy's good for, like you said, multiple years.
Yeah.
I like Barron though, but I think you said either one is a great pick here.
Absolutely. I like Johnson's size a little bit more on the outside.
Bigger, that is big time.
He's got him by about 3.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not an inch, like you said. It's 3. It's 3.
And he's about a year and a half younger than him too. Barron's a little over 23, and Johnson's 21.
Love that.
Oh. Colin, 17.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sprint to the podium. Really, what Cincinnati needs is it's listing interior offensive line and then basically all defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it says that on PFF, entire defense.
Yeah.
So this is just Jahdae Barron, best defender on the board. Come in, help out the back end immediately. So that's the pick.
That's great.
Like you said, I don't know if he gets past 17.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, I think 17, unless they really fall in love with like Tyler Booker or somehow Will Campbell falls and they think he can be the guard of the future, it's got to be defense for the Bengals. Joe Burrow, you've made all these claims, let's sign all these guys. You have to deliver on offense, and I think that's fine expectations-wise for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now let's build up the other side. Our quarterback's talking like he's got us. Let's build up the other side.
Agreed.
Right on. Now on to the Seahawks here at pick 18. I'm not high on Kelvin Banks as I am. If he's going to be the guard that I think he's going to get kicked inside to, I think he could play tackle, but I think he will be kicked inside to guard. I think if the Seattle Seahawks are going to go offensive line, they should just go best guard here. So I'm going to go Tyler Booker. I get the flexibility from Banks might be appealing, but I don't believe the tackle is a position of need for the Seahawks. They're young at that position. They need guard help right now, so we're going to draft the best guard available. For Sam Darnold, we got to protect the guy we're paying money to and convince him to stick around and not leave after some 1 year sneak out on his contract. So let's get Tyler Booker. Let's shore up that offensive line and get the best interior offensive lineman in the draft. He's nasty. He's a bully, and he'll fit right in Seattle's culture.
Yeah, and the problem with Sam Darnold in Minnesota was the interior offensive line struggles. Seattle needs guys on the inside, so I love that fit.
Yep. Yeah, if you get Darnold dancing in that pocket, your defense is happy. So he needs that short pocket in front of him.
Yeah, love the pick there. I don't think protecting Darnold, especially after you pay him, I know it's a 1 year deal for all intents and purposes. But Buccaneers on the clock here. I think they got to address edge, a guy that I'm actually pretty high on. I could even see the Colts taking at 14 as well. I think he's, in my opinion, maybe the second best edge in this draft. Give me Donovan Ezeiruaku, edge out of Boston College. I think the production was there. I know he is a little bit of a smaller guy, a guy that could fit well in the Bucs scheme. I think the production, like I said, is just off the charts, and doesn't really leave a whole lot to question like some of the other edges in this draft. So give me the edge out of BC.
Love that pick.
Bob, you were practicing that name for 30 minutes at least.
Yeah. At least.
Very impressive, though.
Respect. Nailed it.
I wake up every day in the mirror, and that's all I say for the first. It's my affirmations in the morning. Donovan Ezeiruaku.
Ezeiruaku.
Go be great today, and then I go
be great.
Work, yeah.
Oh, jeez. Denver on the clock here. A lot of needs. Running back is tempting. Defensive line is really I'm gonna go Kenneth Grant.
When I saw him here, I was like, that's the match made in heaven, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kenneth Grant. They need are getting a little older. This guy is a freak, man, an absolute freak athlete. Denver tempted by the offense, smart to go defense.
Yeah,
their D-line would be so good.
Yeah,
it'll be so nasty because that's the thing. You can rotate this guy, and they did just re-sign
defense.
DJ Jones, but like you said, Nate, he's 30 years old. The production could fall off in the next couple of years. You replace him with a young guy to go alongside him and help him learn. I love that. Your defensive line was nasty last season, Denver. You just continue to keep that around.
Yep, agreed. I like that pick a lot. That's a good fit there. Colin, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, looking at it coming in, obviously the number 3 pick in this draft would have been kind of enticing here just at their needs. I don't know if they bring in a second running back into the first round to get drafted here. But I'm going to tackle their need of tackle and I'm going to take Josh Simmons here. I think he's going to be the best like true tackle out of who's left. Yeah. And I think he's just the embodiment of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I like that fit. I really do. I hope his knee's okay. That's all I care about is his medicals.
Yeah, for everything I've seen, though, is that it's at least trending in the right direction. Yeah. Seems to be good. And at the end of the day, Steelers fans, if you're salty that it's offensive lineman yet again, when your quarterback is going to be 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, I'm sorry, you need to protect the man because that's who I think they're going to get stuck with at the quarterback position. You got to be able to keep him healthy. Your season's doomed on one potential hit. So I think it's almost a must at that point. You don't have young Justin Fields back there who can take a hit and get up. You got Aaron Rodgers who's one hit away from turning into dust. So it just how it goes.
No, poof.
Yeah, really. Los Angeles Chargers here. Now, I know I've made the pick before of Colston, Loveland, and it's very popular, Michigan man, to Los Angeles. The position of need and the belief I have in Loveland as a player, it really is hard for me not to take him here, but I'm going to go Mike Green. I'm going to go the edge from Marshall. He's fallen long enough. The production his last season and what he showed and has shown in this pre-draft process, it cemented him as a first-round pick. And losing Joey Bosa for the Chargers is big. And Khalil Mack's also old as dirt, and he doesn't even play all the snaps. He's a rotational piece that they bring in, and he played like 50-something% of snaps last season. So you need to get young at that position. Mike Green is that guy. Colston Loveland, I'm sorry you don't get to reunite with your former coach. But Mike Green, immediate starter, hopefully an immediate impact player on that defense for a team that made the playoffs this last season ahead of schedule for a lot of people. So
love that pick to them.
Chargers.
Love that pick for them. They got to go deep. I know it's going to be so tempting to take Loveland there, but That's not Harbaugh's style. It's just not their culture, man. Defense.
Yeah, love the pick. Packers have an interesting one here. Once again, I think they have way too many slot receivers and they don't have a true number one. I don't know if you can get that though.
Is Matthew Golden that? That's the question,
Right.
really. That's really the
Right.
question. Is he a true
And
X?
Egbuka can do quite a bit, but he really should, at his best, he will be a slot receiver. in
Yeah,
my
that's what he
opinion.
was at Ohio State.
Give me Jaylen Walker, linebacker edge out of
Love that.
Georgia. I know it's an interesting pick, but at the end of the day, they need to create pressure. I think he does. I know one of the last mocks we did, I took Mykel Williams here. I think that's another option as well. I think it's really dependent on what they're looking for, but I think Jaylen Walker can hopefully give you more production from a sack standpoint, where Mykel Williams is more that run defending edge, at least right as of right now. But I think Jaylen Walker can really be a fun piece for them defensively, along with Xavier McKinney. I think they can have a really young and exciting defense to pair with Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs and the rest of the crew over there. So I think he's a guy that fits the need, and his upside could be extremely high, especially if you utilize him in the right way.
Yeah.
I mean, Packers fans, and it's frustrating because maybe everybody's that too. You can't always just go out and grab a number one that's a bona fide true guy. Someone might have to step up and really separate themselves the longer they've been in the league in that receiver room. I mean, it's just what has to happen. Somebody has to take that step, because you have to either give up big capital or be high in the draft, really, to get a superstar potential guy. Like Justin Jefferson isn't falling to you in this draft. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really like Jaylen, player. Very talented. Minnesota here, I'm tempted to take two different players here for Minnesota. I'm going to go with defense. I'm going to go with safety, Nick Emmanwory.
Yes.
I love the fit.
Yes.
I absolutely love the fit. I think that and they need a safety, right? Cam Bynum just walked. He's now a Colt. They've got Harrison Smith, but he's in his 14th season.
Yeah.
And then they've got Josh Metellus? No. You need someone. Nick Emmanwory's a freak. I like him to fit in Brian Flores' defense a ton.
Yeah, I really like that pick. Now we have the Texans on the clock, and as enticing as it is to take a receiver with who's left there at that position, just looking at their offensive line, I think that's the glaring need. So give me Kelvin Banks Jr. You stay in the state of Texas. Go protect CJ Stroud.
I love how their needs, it's not OT, guard, or center. It is the whole O-line.
O-line.
We need everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colin, I love the decision here, because I can't lie. When I looked at this immediately, my casual self said,
Emeka.
Matthew Golden or Egbuka, man, they'll fit right in nasty.
Yep.
But then you think about CJ Stroud, the problems he had this past season. Was there a regression? It was because of the offensive line, is what people say. And I like to believe that, offensive line is a gigantic impact on the quarterback's play. CJ Stroud, if he's the guy people think he can be, he's going to elevate maybe a lesser receiver. And he can't elevate an offensive lineman if they're just not good enough to block for him. He can elevate a potential receiver. So I do love the pick of an offensive lineman there.
Joe Mixon was a big part of what they did last year as well. And you got to help him be an asset to your team as well, because that also will just continue to alleviate stress from CJ Stroud's plate in the long run. So
absolutely agree.
Yeah, I do like that. And on to the Rams here at pick number 26. Is this their only pick in the draft?
They're only picking the first two rounds.
Okay. I was sort of tweaking.
They did used to say F them picks, but
yeah, they did, but they've gotten away from that. Los Angeles Rams at 26 here. I think they're happy that the Chargers passed on this guy. I'm going to go Colston Loveland. He's not falling out of the first round in this mock. Bringing back Stafford again. It's a team that, including myself, has been on they're done. This team is cooked. Everyone's old on the offensive side, especially Stafford, and their defense is weak. And yet again, they took the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl champs to the wire in the playoffs last season, and it came down to throwing into the end zone. So give me Colston Loveland. You're trying to compete still. This guy's he adds to a position of need, and he's going to be a baller. I think this guy's going to be able to impact run plays with his blocking and be a dynamic pass catcher. So give me Colston Loveland from Michigan.
Yeah, that's great. Between him or Egbuka, I don't think you could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
Yep, I like that pick.
Receiver would be interesting. The fact they got Devontae, I think they'll just say, we'll rock with
True.
these
I keep
two
forgetting
guys.
they got Devontae.
We'll rock with these two guys and Puka and Devontae for one season, and then maybe because who knows? Are they close to blowing it up as well? Who knows?
A lot of old guys.
Yeah, Ravens on the clock. I think the board's fallen obviously a little interesting, especially from the start. Give me Gray Zabel.
Damn it.
Just going to get someone to protect. Lamar's special, man, and I think you just continue to give him as many tools as possible to let him have that escapability, have that pocket presence, run around. And I think Gray Zabel gives you so much position flexibility as well. I know we've talked about that. This is a guy that can play anywhere on the O-line. And hopefully just a stalwart for your team. Like I said, you don't have to worry about him. Can be a long-term starter for you at really any position you need. So
yeah, you're a real dick. You know that?
I love that pick. I just don't know if any DBs have shown that. I'm sure maybe who knows who can sneak in the end of the first round if teams buy into potential. I just don't know if a DB has thrust themselves into gotta be taken at the end of round one. So I do love Gray Zabel there for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that's a solid pick, man. And I'm pivoting. That was my pick for Detroit. I'm pivoting. What about a wide receiver? Why? Right, the two of the best ones fell, right? Egbuka on the board. You got Golden on the board. You need something, probably. You got Amon-Ra. You can never have too many weapons, right?
That's true.
I mean, might as well, right? Might as well. Give me Matthew Golden. Screw it. Give me Matthew Golden. Give me the outside receiver that ran a 4.29 40 or 4.28, whatever it was, 4.29, and with the size. Let's have some fun. Why not?
Yeah, let's have a guy like him and Jameson Williams. You guys pick which one you want to protect with that safety, or really run that cover 2 super deep, and we're gonna pick you apart underneath with Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
So good luck. We're ripping off the ceiling both sides every play.
Yeah, you
Good
can't
luck
stop
to you.
us.
I don't dislike that. I mean, at the end of the day, if their offense can continue to score 40,
Yeah,
it's tough to beat.
tough to beat them. And they did sign DJ Reed, so I like the cornerback room a little bit more that way. Edge is the tempting one, really, for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say any of those edges. The Shamar,
Williams,
athleticism potential, Scorton, either one of those guys.
Yep.
I mean, Williams, but
All three of those.
I mean, like you said, these receivers fell. These guys maybe should not be here at 28.
Yeah, so I like it. Colin, Washington,
and this is interesting because there's a couple of guys I didn't think would be here, but is it the biggest need for Washington going into next year? Because I'm trying to draft based off what I think they would do versus what I would do, because I would definitely take a punter right here if I could choose to.
Smart.
It's saying some positions of need, and I kind of agree with a couple. I disagree with another couple. Give me Mykel Williams here to Washington. I floated back and forth between a few different guys here for this pick, but I will take Mykel Williams. Never a bad decision to take a Georgia defender.
True.
Totally agree.
Yeah, definitely not a bad idea to take a guy that defense just produces studs. They're the new Alabama, where, I mean, Alabama still is that way, but they're in that category where you're taking somebody, they're going to be good. On to the Buffalo Bills at pick number 30. I'm going to go Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M edge. I think the athleticism from the combine, if he falls this far, I believe that he could be a big-time player on the edge for the Buffalo Bills. I know they did add Joey Bosa, and they have Von Miller. Oh, they got rid of Miller, I believe, right?
Yeah,
to bring in
I think
Bosa.
Von's gone.
They got rid of old to bring in an old. It's the best strategy. But even with Bosa coming in, I think you want to get younger at the position of premier need, and Joey Bosa can potentially teach this athletic freak a thing or two, because that's Bosa's thing, is he's got all the moves in the bag. So give me Shamar Stewart, an athletic specimen, to the Buffalo Bills at pick number 30.
Yep. Could see that happening for sure. And he could be awesome. I mean, Texas A&M breeds freak defensive linemen.
Yeah. You're an athlete if you're Texas A&M. Ask Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kansas City Chiefs on the clock. This is super tough because I really think at the end of the day, the Chiefs really should go offensive line in the first round.
Yeah.
The whole reason they lost the Super Bowl, one of the biggest ones, was just due to the pressure that they were getting on Mahomes play after play.
Mm-hmm.
But with this guy being, give me Emeka Egbuka.
Ooh.
I don't think they can ever have enough weapons.
Agreed.
I think you go get another guy from Mahomes to throw to. Him and Rice. Kelsey's getting up there in age, and at the end of the day, this is just another weapon and a guy that you get on a rookie contract. You get him for at least 4 years. I think that he can make that offense run and be. I think Andy Reid could have a lot of different ways to implement him into the offense as well. And I guess if you can't keep your quarterback upright, at least give him options to get the ball out quickly, because I don't know if Josh Connerly or anyone else really moves the needle that much for me here. So.
Yeah, I think NFL fans are probably just pissed at us because we let Emeka Egbuka fall to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because I could totally see that happening.
Yeah.
I just wondered, did you ponder Walter Nolan?
I really pondered Derek Harmon
as well.
Yeah, I really pondered Derek Harmon. I really like him a lot too. I love Walter Nolan. I think Harmon paired next to Chris Jones would be a disgusting combination. However, I do think this draft is very deep on the D tackle. So I had to go with a guy that I don't think should have been there. I don't think Walter Nolan should be here right now either, but at the end of the day, I think you can come back and get a Tyleik Williams maybe. Anyone that's down. Omar Norman Lott will be down there a little bit later as well, hopefully.
You're the biggest Omar Norman Lott fan I know.
I love the kid. I just think, though, that at the end, I know D tackle is a position that is increasingly getting more and more important, but I think Egbuka can do everything you would want out of a wide receiver. And I think he would be the best to play slot. I do think you could probably move him outside and get some production as well. So
he would be an immediate slot starter for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Maybe
with Worthy and Rice too.
He'd probably be Mahomes top 3 immediately in the best receivers of Mahomes' career. I mean, Tyreek, Rashee Rice, and then it'd be Egbuka right there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, great pick there. Eagles fans, you're all welcome. Walter Nolan's off the board at pick 32. Milton Williams, you go get $26 million a year somehow. We'll just bring in someone who's probably better than you day one. Walter Nolan. Thank you very much.
Browns on the clock. Thank you so much for the help.
Round.
Yes.
This is interesting because it really I'm torn.
First round, yeah.
I am torn because they took a rookie quarterback, right? Shedeur first round, you said?
Yep.
And you're going to do it, aren't you?
I might do it.
Do it.
Pull the trigger.
Yep. I think I'm going to pull it.
Do it.
I'm going to take, and now I'm going to butcher the hell out of his first name, even though I've heard it 1,000 times.
Do it.
Running back, Hampton, North Carolina.
Yes, let's go.
Yes, you have Nick Chubb, but he's as injury prone as anybody, and he's had how many torn ACLs now?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, Nick Chubb's still a good answer, but is he the full answer? And I don't think so. So let's just bring in a whole new backfield.
Yes, love that.
Nick Chubb has quite literally had 2 career-ending injuries that did not end his career. He had one in college, and he's had one in the league.
Yeah, that's crazy. That guy's got some bad.
Plus, other just ACL tears. Yeah, he's a freak, man. We got to just put it in that pic of Nick Chubb jumping over everybody's height when he's in high school about to run a sprint. He's literally jumping as tall as everyone else.
Yeah, crazy.
It is crazy. Moving on to the G-men here, taking Jackson Dart at number 3. Is this a situation where they felt handcuffed? And I think it is. And you brought it up in the first round. They're trying to extend the shelf life of the coaching and GM career of Schoen and Dable. And if we're drafting
I defend that real quick. I'm going to defend this too. They have the edge position taken care of. They really do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I understand the other option would have been a hopefully elite cornerback. I think in this pick here is where I really like 3 of the guys that are probably going to fall in the second round that we are going to see coming up. And I think that is why you have to take a shot early, because I think you can address those, especially if it is going to be DB right here, because that'd be who you're missing out on with Hunter. So just had to defend that. So I do think they have the edge position taken care of. You're not going to draft Abdul Carter. Is Mason Graham.
The Giants clearly believe they have something with the fact that they were trying to get Stafford.
Correct.
That had to have put them in their mind over 10 wins. Again, their division is stacked. So they must believe. And if they believe with enough to draft Jackson Dart, which I think in this scenario they would, They're going to do whatever they can to protect him. I know Derek Harmon is there. I am going to take an Oregon man, but it's not the defensive side. It's the offense. Give me Josh Connerly Jr. to protect Jackson Dart and just get another young piece on that offensive line that can potentially be the tackle of the future. And if we're giving this rookie quarterback the reins, we got to protect him. And I know Derek Harmon is right there, and he's a damn big body defensive interior guy, but I want to keep that quarterback up. So I'm going to go Josh Connerly Jr. here for the long-term offensive line.
Yep. Love that pick for them.
Love that too. Addressing the trenches, especially like you said, if they do get a young rookie, that's never a bad thing. So Titans on the clock here. Few different ways they could go. I think with the aging wide receiver room that they have, I think there's a few different guys they could take here, but I think that if Cam Ward's your pick there, I think that you got to address the wide receiver room a little bit. I know Calvin Ridley's obviously still good, but other than that, nothing really wows me there. Give me Alec Ayo-Manor. I think he is a little bit better than Jack Betch, in my opinion. I think both of these guys would be great options for him here. I really do love Demetrius Knight Jr. as well.
Yeah.
I think it just might be a little bit rich for my blood when you can still get hopefully a good playmaker on the outside. So,
yeah. First of all, you've been practicing these names.
Yeah.
There's no way you
in the
haven't
morning.
been spending 20 minutes in the morning working on these names.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I love that pick for them. Pair him up with Calvin Ridley.
I think he's underrated, and I think he's a very good receiver. Good hands, can really get out of breaks.
Yep.
Can use his size well with his differential speeds. He's not the fastest guy, but he can at least mix it up to the point where it's not always the same speed going. And I think he can be a playmaker. And like you said, if we're drafting these young guys, we got to get them the people to get the ball to. Calvin Ridley ain't enough. He ain't enough. And half of his numbers are from Will Levis, throw it up, deep bombs, and then he somehow catches them. I mean, he caught like 3 of those last season where it was like 60-plus yards for a tud, where it's like 2 guys are draped on him and the ball is just perfectly thrown from Levis, and it's like, what? So, yeah.
Crazy. Also, real fast, Alec Ayo-Manor dominated Travis Hunter in their matchups this past season. So just for what it's worth, best corner in the class, Ayo-Manor won that battle.
And, I mean, at the end of the day, what are we going to rip a guy because Stanford's offense sucks?
Right, that's not his fault.
Yeah.
On the clock here, they went Travis Hunter in the first round, passed on Mason Graham. That's okay. You get Derek Harmon this time around, and you get Derek Harmon in the second round, and you get to go Travis Hunter and Derek Harmon with your first 2 picks. The new GM is grinning.
6'5", 310. Big body.
Yeah. Speed defensive lineman.
Shout out.
I'm going to take a guy, and I don't know if it's their biggest need, but I definitely think it is still a need. And I'm going to take Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State, wide receiver. I think the Raiders fall in love with this guy, and he goes in and makes a play day one.
You got your QB. Get him some weapons.
You got your running back. You might as well just rebuild.
Yeah, Higgins is one of those Iowa State Cyclones that it really showed the athleticism in this post-season pre-draft portion. And I think he has flown up boards just strictly off that. And, man, I get it's not Al Davis, but the Raiders still love those freak athletes, man. It's just forever in their blood.
100%.
On to the Patriots here. I'm going to do Nate a solid. I'm going to draft the first kicker off the board here.
Great pick.
No, I'm just kidding. just kidding. In the first round, New England Patriots, very happy to get Abdul Carter to come their way. And I know Nate would be pissed about that for sure.
Devastated.
Now, this is a tough spot because some receivers have gone off the board. Do they love Jack Beach? I don't know. I'm gonna do it. Travion Henderson from Ohio State. I'm gonna take running back here. Get Drake May a partner for years to come in the backfield. I think Henderson can do it all, really. I mean, I believe in the production at Ohio State. 5'10" isn't the biggest, but at the end of the day, that's just the new age of the NFL. I believe Henderson can be the back in the New England backfield. And he can do it all. He can pass block well. He can catch passes out of the backfield, and he can run. I think he's going to fly up boards. Both the Ohio State running backs are going to. So I'm going to take Travion Henderson at a running back position for the Patriots early in round 2. And I know Patriots fans are going to be pissed.
You just broke Bobby's heart.
No, I am him. 2 of my favorite players in this draft just went in Higgins and Henderson. I've been on him early and often. An amazing pass pro back.
Yep.
Got the burst. I know Jahmyr Gibbs is an easy comp because we've seen him recently. Obviously a bit lesser. Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute savage. But I think Henderson can be an extremely explosive weapon for them. Can catch balls out of the backfield, can block, can do everything you want. And he really does have that smash mouth mentality blocking. So
pass pro, you want running backs to be willing to pass pro. He's more than willing. He's willing and damn good at it. And that's very, very important. And people might not grasp how big that is. And it's like, that's how guys get on the field in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that pick. I think that we very well could see 2, if this were the case. I'm having a hard time not picking the other Ohio State running back. However, I do think it is a deep class. And there's a guy that's still on the board that I think could help the Bears immediately. I know you just got Dio Dangbo, but at the end of the day, let's get another edge rusher. Give me Nick Scorton, edge out of Texas A&M. I just think where he falls here would be a great spot for him. The talent level is a bit higher than that, in my opinion. And a guy that hopefully can come in and have some production. And you're picking again in 2 picks. I think any of the running backs, even if one were to be taken here, is still a great option for you as well at pick 41. So.
I like the edge. I don't care that we got Dio. I mean, obviously, I love that the addition of him, but it's not enough. We can always add more pieces of that position, and I love that.
Yeah, that's a very good pick, especially when you just look at the value of the position.
Yeah, Scorton should not be there.
No, that's a great pick. Saints on the clock here. I'm just we took Tyler Warren in the first. I'm gonna go with the beef. Darius Alexander out of Toledo. I don't know what's up with my mic tonight. I don't know what's going on.
It's all right.
Yeah, I love them aggressing line as well. I love that. D-line especially.
Their D-line needs help all over, and he's a big body as well. He's 6'4". He's also listed at 310. Big body guy, and you got to be able to slow down the run in that division. I mean, every single team can run the football well. The Panthers with Chuba Hubbard last season. The Falcons, obviously, 2-headed beast, but Bijan alone. And then the Buccaneers with their 2-headed beast, but Bucky Irvin really coming on. So you got to be able to stop the run in that division.
Yep. Agreed.
Bears up at 41 for you, Steves.
The Chicago Bears. So based off their needs, we've already addressed 2 of them here in the first couple of rounds, and we're still in round 2. Welcome to Double Dip Chicago Bears. It's obvious running back is a need for them. So that's why Cam Scatabo would be hilarious.
I mean, hey.
Or Scataboo, however you pronounce it.
He's a little small for my liking, but he's explosive.
But it's just the other Ohio State guy. His backfield mate just went. It's Quinshaw Judkins. And you hope he plays like that first 2 weeks of the college football release because he was untackleable.
Yeah.
And I don't care if that's a word. I'm making it a word.
Yeah, that spin move. That spin move is broken, man.
Busted. But the Bears pick up a running back position of need.
I like it.
Yeah, I'd love Quinshaw Judkins. I love the size. I love the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. And I love it. He's got decent enough breakaway speed for my liking, and we'll see if he can do that at the next level. But I like a guy that size that can move that well. I'd love that. On to the New York Jets. It took Tetairoa McMillan in the first round, and if I'm Justin Fields, I'm grinning at that because he's going to be a freak. Pair him up with Garrett Wilson. Good things to come on the offensive side. And since you've done that on the offensive side, I believe you're going to go defensive side on this one. For me, it is a little bit of a toss-up between these 2 defensive interior players, T.J. Anderson and Tylek Williams from Ohio State. I'm going to go T.J. Anderson a little bit more. Screw the Buckeyes. A little bit of bias there. But South Carolina's defense was extremely nasty this last season. Not that Ohio State's wasn't good, but T.J. Sanders was a gigantic part of that for South Carolina. So I'm going to go Sanders to the New York Jets and get a little bit of a big body on that defensive interior.
Yeah, great pick. I was going to say, I don't know TJ Anderson, but TJ Sanders, pretty good pick.
Sanders, damn. I think there's not even an Anderson on the screen. Really sorry about that one, TJ Sanders. My fault. I don't know how I got Anderson in there. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I love the pick. I think I think the 49ers are happy because I think there's another D tackle here that I really like coming out. Give me Tyleik Williams.
Yeah.
One of the first ever videos we did, I know we had someone comment about them releasing a D tackle, immediately became a position of need. I think he's a big run stuffing body that can really add some help to that defensive line. I don't think you could go wrong with a couple different picks here. I think there's some good corners available as well. But I think Tyleik Williams is one of the better D tackles and defensive players still available here.
Back-to-back defensive interior
Mhm.
going. I mean, that's how it is.
I like that
runs
pick.
go in this draft.
Took TJ Sanders for the 49ers and the Jets, so you guys are going to share him apparently. Just cross country. But Tyleik Williams actually is the pick, so people watch. I've got the Cowboys on the clock here at 44, having taken Luther Burden with pick 12 earlier on. Oh, this one's easy for me. I'm going Demetrius Knight, linebacker out of South Carolina. They need a linebacker. Not a lot to say there.
Yeah, an immediate plug-and-play guy with speed at that position, and that's what you need nowadays out of the linebacker spot for sure.
Yep. Colin, Colts on the clock.
Yeah, it puts me in a little bit of a bind here because I was actually kind of eyeing that linebacker position here for the Colts. So now I'm immediately pivoting to see if there's anyone worthy at the guard position for the Colts here at this pick. And I think there is. I really do. Just based off everything I've seen here. I'm going to get flamed for it, Bobby. Let me hear it. I'm going to mispronounce his last name, but he's a guard out of Arizona. First name, Jonah.
Jonah Savai Inaya.
I'm not even going to try, America. I'm going to spare it myself. And you guys, of course.
Shot.
I mean, it's definitely a position of need for the Indianapolis Colts after losing Will Fries, a very good offensive lineman this past season. And at the end of the day, Q is getting old.
Yeah. And another thing, I don't know if we don't get a tight end first round, it'd be tough to convince me on taking really any here. I don't know if Elijah Arroyo is a guy that I really like. I do like Mason Taylor, but I think this is a little bit early for my blood on that. But we need a starting guard or at least some competition along with Bordolini or Goncalves. I don't think it's a bad pick at all. And Chris Ballard loves the trenches, so.
Yep, I like it.
Love that. Now on to the Atlanta Falcons here. In the first round, they took Jihaad Campbell on the defensive side, and I think they're going to stick on that defensive side. I'm going to go Landon Jackson, Arkansas edge here. I think he showed he's got extreme athleticism, and he's got the traits to be a guy that can get after the quarterback at this level and in this league. And I think the Falcons are going to say, we believe in Penix and the tools we have offensively. We need to try to get short up on this defensive side. Landon Jackson helps that at a edge position.
Yeah, like the pick there. Love seeing his increase in productivity, especially after that video came out from him. So, yeah, I think worst ever. I think that is a guy though that the Cardinals could take here. I know we addressed the secondary needs already. Not really in love with a ton of the O-line here. Give me edge out of Ole Miss, Princely McMillan. I think that they could continue to address the defensive side of the ball. At the end of the day, I think he is a guy that can have some production in the NFL. And just give the head coach there another guy on the defensive side of the ball, a young defense, keep adding to it. So
yeah. Love that pick. And again, you've been crushing the names.
Yeah, truly.
Just crushing them. Dolphins on the clock. Went with safety Malachi Starks in the first round. We're going offensive line here. I'm going Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State. Versatile, can play guard and tackle. I would like him. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think Donovan Jackson's got a high ceiling at both positions, like you said. I think he could be a tackle because he played it well at Ohio State, and he's got size. So, but he could also be kicked inside as well. So I like that pick, versatility on a line that needs to be good for Tua. Needs to be good.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and that's the guy who I was floating back and forth with my guard selection as well. So a good pick there. Bob, I don't know if you have heartstrings towards one or the other. But with the pick here, Cincinnati, it's going to go with defensive tackle, trying to shore up the inside of that defensive line. You might still have Hendrickson on the outside, but you do need help on the inside after taking a corner in round 1. And this is Omar Norman Lott, I believe is how you pronounce that, out of Tennessee.
Yes.
Pretty
Great pick.
I love him. I love him coming out. I think he's underrated. I know it's a very deep class, but I think he's a stud.
Yeah.
And the Bengals need any defensive help that you could roll any of us out there too, and that'd probably be useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good pick. Addison, Seattle.
On to the Seattle Seahawks. I had them, I believe, in the first round as well. I had them take Tyler Booker on the offensive line. And part of me really wants to take another offensive lineman, the best center in the class. But, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take Jared Wilson from Georgia. I'm gonna go 2 offensive linemen. You brought it up when we talked about the Seahawks the first time, how the interior offensive line struggles of Minnesota really hurt Sam Darnold at the end of the season. So they might be young guns, but we're going to try to give Sam Darnold the best chance at having a good offensive line in front of him in the interior. So we're going to go Jared Weaver from Georgia.
Jared Wilson, right?
Wilson, yes, yeah. Wilson.
Yep, I like that pick. I think he's best center in the class.
Last names that are right in front of me.
Yeah, I love that pick. I think Broncos could go about this 1 of 2 waves. I really do like Caleb Johnson coming out of Iowa as well. I think he's a very physical runner. But I think with Jack Betch still being available, I think he's too good of a player to pass up. A guy that's had a ton of production, played, a lot of football. And at the end of the day, I think the size is there for me. I think he's a guy that can just go make plays and really help a young quarterback continue to develop and continue to get better. And I think Sean Payton would love to add another weapon to that offense, especially not having one, the first time around. So
yeah, they got Cortland Sutton on the outside. Betch can definitely be that slot guy on the inside. And I know Sean Payton loves to make use of guys that are good at short routes, and Betch fits that mold.
Yeah. That's very solid pick there, like you said. Seahawks back on the clock here, having traded away DK Metcalf for this pick. Man, I'm kind of torn on who to go with here. I think I'm going to go with one of my favorites. I'm going to go with JT Tuimoloau out of Ohio State. Very strong defensive end. Pass rush a little bit, but I like him and Mike McDonald's defense.
Yeah, the size is there for sure with him being 6'5". Plus, what do you think about Jack Sawyer, both Ohio State edges? That's what I thought for the Seahawks at 50. That's what I almost was contemplating, and it came down to the Ohio State brothers there.
Yeah, I think I've just always been higher on JT Tuimoloau than most. I wanted him in the first round of last year's draft, and now getting him at 52, I just like that fit a lot. I see more of a higher ceiling for him than Jack Sawyer, who does, I think, have a higher floor.
Yeah,
so it just depends on if you want
that's fair,
it or if you want to take a big cut and maybe miss. So I'm going to take a big swing for
Seattle. That's what the draft's for. At the end of the day, you don't draft because higher floor, because we're hoping we can get you to your ceiling, baby.
Right. So give me Tuimoloau.
Love that.
Colin, Bucks on the clock.
The Bucks took Donovan Ezeiruaku. I know I screwed that up in the first round. Ezeiruaku. Sorry.
Ezeiruaku.
All right, on the clock here, Tampa Bay, who took a D end in the first round. Just looking at their other positions of needs and guys that are left on this board. We haven't taken Trey Amos yet. He's still out there, right? Corner.
Yeah, a lot of corners.
A lot. They would be very pleased to have this set of picks right here, in my opinion.
And that's who I think I'm going to take here. I mean, there's other guys listed ahead of him, but I just like everything I've seen from him. He's got good size, 6'1", just shy of 200. Looks like he plays better in zone than man, so a guy that can go right into Tampa's backfield, or defensive backfield, I should say, and make an impact day one.
Yep. Love that pick for them.
On to the Green Bay Packers here, and I know receiver is of need. Xavier Restrepo and his slow running ability is there, but is he true one? I just don't know at that point. I think you might almost be passing on receivers with your top picks this year, Green Bay. And we're going to just be trying to build up that defense. Jordan Love and these young guns got to do it on the offensive side. Might be a corner run at this point if this is how it falls. I'm going to go Maxwell Harrison from Kentucky to the Green Bay Packers. If you're losing Jair, you got to replace somebody of that caliber with a young guy to see if they can even be somewhat of a shadow of Alexander. So I'm going to go Harrison from Kentucky.
Yep. Great pick.
Yeah, love that pick. I think Packers fans would be very excited. I think that those are two great corners going at a really reasonable spot, especially going this late. Could see either one of those guys being first rounders as well. So love both of those picks. And then we got the Chargers on the clock here. We did address defensive line with Mike Green in the first round.
You think a third tight end is in play here?
Yeah, I'm really looking at Arroyo.
If it was a tight end, it'd be whoever really separated themselves at this point.
Give me Mason Taylor, tight end LSU. I think he's better than Arroyo. I think he will fit what Harbaugh wants to do. I think he's a much better blocker than Arroyo is. Got the lineage being from the Taylor family. And at the end of the day, I think he's a hard-nosed football player. If they really do address the tight end position, I think he is in my opinion, the third best tight end on the board.
Yeah. Great pick. I'm going to talk fast because I used up my entire hotspot for this month. For the Bills, the corner desperately, very talented.
Who was the pick? I'm sorry.
Siobhan Ravel.
Nice. My bad.
Love that pick, by the way. He's going to be a stud.
Yep.
I'll say long corner. He's got all the tools to set up to be great.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Nate's sort of pissed at the Bills getting two decent defensive players in this draft.
I am pissed.
Two very high upside defenders in this draft.
Yeah.
Here on the board is going to be Carolina, I believe, is my next pick here.
Yep.
And another guy, Bryce Young, immediately benched to start the year, comes back, plays okay. I mean, much better. The best we've seen him play in the NFL is what we saw towards the end of this last year. In the first round, looks like we took a defensive player, so we got to go get an offensive weapon. I mean, Adam Thielen, how many more seasons he got in the chamber?
Yeah.
Maybe one or two. I know they took Leggett last year, but go get another receiver. And it's another Ole Miss guy, assuming my board here is correct, and Trey Harris hasn't been drafted yet.
Correct.
A big receiver, 6'2", 205, had a monster year last year for Ole Miss. Let's just give him to Carolina.
Love that pick.
On to the Houston Texans, and I'm grinning ear to ear because I already know I'm butchering this guy's name so bad. Minnesota tackle Ariante Irsay. Yeah.
You got the first name.
Yeah, you got the first name.
Ursery.
Yeah.
Ursery. My apologies, my man. But guess what? You're getting picked in the second round of the Houston Texans. That makes up for me messing up your name.
His name.
The Houston Texans, it might not be the prettiest draft where you're getting stud playmakers, but you're protecting C.J. Stroud for the future, getting two guys that can move around the offensive line for years to come.
Yep.
Great
Love
pick.
the pick there. Ravens are on the clock. I think that they could go a couple different ways here. I'm really looking at two guys, both playing the cornerback position. I like Darian Porter a lot coming out. I think he's a super freak athletically. I will say, though, the Ravens, especially with the Wiggins pick, I realize they do like ball production. I think Ezeiruaku Thomas is a better option for them specifically. So give me the cornerback out of Florida State. I think Darian Porter obviously put up crazy numbers at the draft. But I think Ezeiruaku Thomas has a little bit better film and just a little bit more trustworthy overall, maybe not as high of an upside, but a guy that can come in and make an impact right away for you. So
Yep. Love that pick for them. Detroit needs interior offensive linemen. They love one of my favorites. I'm going Wyatt Milam out of West Virginia. He's a bully, man. Guy's nasty. Will be a guard in the NFL.
that's such a Dan Campbell pick as well, to be honest with you.
He's a
That is
Campbell
just West Virginia, hard nose. Yep. That's
Fits.
home run pick for them.
Yeah, fits.
Now on to the Commanders here for UC with Mykel Williams taken in that first round.
Yeah, Carolina is in, or Carolina. Good Lord. So it's Monday. It's Monday.
It's hitting me, man, pretty bad.
Washington here. I've looked at a couple spots. We went obviously edge in the first round, and now it's kind of, and we talked about it in our postseason kind of talk. Does Washington just revamp this defense because they got it on the offensive side, or do they get depth on the offensive side? I looked at inside linemen here. There's no one I really think is good for this spot. That's going to be at that guard position. So I'm immediately going back to the corner here. I looked at running back depth because, I mean, Austin Eckler was in there on third downs a lot more than receiving back. How much juice are in those legs? I don't know. But do you use a second round pick here to get your backup running back, or do you get a guy that could be a starter on the defensive side? I'm going to go starter on the defensive side. And I'm not going to lie, I did space out for the last pick. So if Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame has already been picked, I'm sorry.
Nope, he's
If
there.
it's not picked, that is who the pick is right here for Washington.
That's a good
Yeah.
pick.
That'd be a steal too, especially if the medicals come back on this
Yep.
guy clean. He is probably a top 3 or 4 corner in this draft if the medicals clear. So getting him at 61, obviously teams do evaluate people differently. I know with Latu speaking, he had the neck issue. Colts didn't see a problem with it. You just got to have one team's doctor give you the green light, even though it's bad to say that. But this guy's is one of the elite cornerback prospects coming out this year. I think he's one of the top 4, like I said. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
if he
love that.
falls, it's that injury and what's he gonna be? But if everything is good, it's gonna be a steal for whoever gets Morrison. On to the Buffalo Bills here again, and I think they're just gonna do 3 straight defensive picks. I mean, their defense is what is of need. You've got Josh Allen carrying the offensive side. James Cook's situation has not been figured out yet, right? He's still
Correct.
complaining about the money.
Yep.
Now that does make it interesting. Do you look at Caleb Johnson as a guy that he might not be as fast as James Cook, but he's big body, can take the load of as many carries as maybe Cook had this past season?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go lean on the side that they get that figured out. You don't let a guy that scored 16 regular season touchdowns out the door. Give me Carson Schweisinger, UCLA linebacker, and the Buffalo Bills just completely build on the defensive side of the ball. They say, hey, we're here. We're going to be in the playoffs for the next 7 years with Josh Allen. We got to be able to compete defensively and slow down some of these juggernauts that the AFC offenses have. So Buffalo really looks defense in these first 2 rounds. The first 3 picks, all defensive guys, topped off by Carson Schweisinger from UCLA linebacker.
Yep, that's a great pick. That's a really good pick.
yeah, I love that pick a lot as well. Give me Tate Ratledge here. I'm really was debating going interior D line. I love CJ West coming out of Indiana. So much production. If you watch the film, he was an absolute freak. Wreaked havoc on the defensive line. Alfred Collins is a big body guy as well. But like I said last year, after watching that, I do think Marcus Membou would be a good option here as well. Out of Purdue, I think he's a guy that's going to end up playing in the interior. But just as a pure guard, I think Tate Ratledge with the mentality that he's going to bring is just a great option for them. So
Agreed. I think that's a really good pick. I love Tate Ratledge, man. He's going to be so good on the interior, and they need a guard. Like you said, they need a guard. Eagles on the clock here. Last pick of the draft. I do think they need an edge rusher. Got to replace Josh Sweat. I just don't know if that's Jack Sawyer. I just don't know. I'm going to go Jared Ivey. I like Jared Ivey's size. I like on PFF listed 6'6", 280. Very freaky, athletic, obviously super physically gifted, can fit multiple fronts. Yeah, we'll go Jared Ivey and just help them on the defensive line again and go with an edge rusher here and wrap up this 2-round mock draft. So, a lot of picks made. I'm very excited to see what fans of these teams have to say. But I don't know. What do you guys think about this mock draft?
Bang, bang, bang right off the top. 3 straight quarterbacks. And as much as people might want to complain about that, it's what the NFL does every single season. Guys that do not deserve to be drafted that high go that high strictly because of the position. I mean, when we went quarterback, when it was Lawrence, Wilson, and Lance, it could be a similar situation where guys are just getting picked this high strictly because of the position they play and teams are in desperate need. I think this is a real possibility, and that opens up so much for so many more teams in the first round just because of the fact that these quarterbacks are going so high and guys fall. So it's very interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, it's just fun to see what it could look like as well. But some of these teams, it is a quarterback driven league, and we've mentioned it with a lot of the prospects. But at the end of the day, you just need one person in the organization to believe in you. It's really all it takes. So, and who knows, maybe the Giants kid is going to be the guy that recommended taking Daniels last year. Maybe he says, "Hey, take Jackson Dart."
And they listen this time.
He was pretty good. He was pretty accurate about his decision making last year. So, hey, maybe the kid's got one more in his bag, and it's Jackson Dart.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Feels good to join you guys for the first draft here that I've been a part of. I feel like got off to a hot start, and then as soon as PFF kicked me out, I feel like I was just lost.
Yeah,
Didn't know what direction to look. So
technical difficulties happen, man.
Yeah, it happens. Okay, maybe next time I'll have it all down on paper, so I won't rely on the technology. But
There we go.
definitely felt like a little shaky there at the second half of the second round, but it is what it is.
All righty, that's all we've got for you guys. Make sure you guys are already subscribed to the channel. Comment down below what you think about the picks we made for your teams. We'd love to hear it. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.